October 9th, 1972, Ethan Patz, born in New York City, USA. Uh, let's see. On the morning of May 25th, 1979, Ethan left his Soho apartment in 113 Prince Street by himself for the first time, planning to walk 2 blocks to board a school bus at West Board and Prince Street. He was wearing a black Future Flight Captain pilot cap, a blue corduroy jacket, blue jeans, and blue sneakers with fluorescent stripes. He never got on the bus. At school, Ethan's teacher noticed his absence but did not report it to the principal. When Ethan did not return home after school, his mother Julie called the police. At first, detectives considered the Patz to be possibly suspects, but quickly determined they had no involvement. An intense search began that evening using nearly 100 police officers and a team of bloodhounds. The search continued for weeks. Neighbors, police canvassed the city and placed missing children posters featuring Ethan's portrait, but these results led to few leads. Ethan's father, Stanley, was a professional photographer and had a collection of photos he had taken of his son. His photos of Ethan were printed on countless missing child posters and milk cartons. They were also projected on screens in Times Square. Assistant United States Attorney Stuart R. Garbos received the case in 1985 and identified Jose Antonio Ramos, a convicted child sex abuser who had been a friend of Ethan's former babysitter, as a prime suspect. In 1982, multiple boys had accused Ramos of trying to lure them into a drain pipe and in the area where Ramos was living. When police searched the drain pipe, they found photographs of Ramos, young boys who resembled Ethan. Garbos eventually found out that Ramos had been in custody in Pennsylvania in connection with an unrelated child molestation case in 1990. Garbos was deputized as a deputy state attorney general in Pennsylvania to help prosecute a case against Ramos for sexually abusing children and to obtain further information about Ethan's case. When first questioned by Garbos, Ramos stated that on the day that Ethan disappeared, he had taken a young boy back to his apartment to rape him. Ramos said that he was 90% sure it was the boy whom he later saw on television. However, Ramos did not use Ethan's name. He also claimed he had put the boy on a subway going uptown. In 1991, while Ramos was incarcerated, a jailhouse informant told Goebbels, the FBI agent Mary Gallen, that Ramos had told him he knew what had happened to Ethan. Ramos even drew a map of Ethan's school bus route, indicating that he knew that Ethan's bus stop was the third one on the route. In a special feature on missing children in New York Post, reported on October 21st, 1999, that Ramos was the prime suspect in Ethan's disappearance. Ramos had been known by the Patz family and was the prime suspect all along, but in the early 1980s, authorities were unable to prosecute Ramos. Ethan's body was never found, and he was declared legally dead on June 19th, 2001. Stan and Julie Patz pursued and won a civil case against Ramos in 2004. They were awarded a symbolic sum of $2 million, which they have never collected. Ramos has never been criminally prosecuted for the murder of Ethan. Every year on Ethan's birthday and the anniversary of his disappearance, Stan Patz sent Ramos a copy of his son's missing child poster. On the back, he typed the same message: "What did you do to my little boy?" Ramos has denied that he killed Ethan. Ramos served a 20-year prison sentence in the State Correctional Institutes in Dallas, Pennsylvania for child molestation. He was released from prison on November 7th, 2012. Soon after he released, he was arrested on a Megan's Law violation. He can't stay out of trouble. Stan and Julie Patz had the 2004 judgment against Ramos dismissed after the 2015 trial of Pedro Hernandez convicted them that Ramos was not responsible for their son's death. Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr. officially reopened the case on May 25, 2010. On April 19, 2012, Federal Bureau of Investigation and New York City Police Department investigators began excavating the Soho basement of 127B Prince Street near the Patz home. This residence has been newly refurbished shortly after Ethan's disappearance in 1979, and the basement hath been the workshop of storage space of a handyman. After a 4-day search, investigators announced that there was nothing conclusive found. On May 24, 2012, New York Police Commissioner Ronald Kelly announced that a man was in custody who had implicated himself in Ethan's disappearance. A law enforcement official identified the man as 51-year-old Pedro Hernandez of Maple Shade, New Jersey. He said that Hernandez stated in a written confession that, "Please, I'm sorry I shook him," according to a 2009 book about the case after Ethan. Ethan had $1 and had told his parents that he planned to buy a soda to drink with his lunch. Um, at the time of Ethan's disappearance, Hernandez was an 18-year-old convenience store worker in the neighborhood bodega. Hernandez said that he later threw Ethan's remains into a garbage. Hernandez was charged with second-degree murder, according to a New York Times report from May 25, 2012. The police at the time had no physical evidence to corroborate his confession. Wow, that's crazy. In 2012, Jose Lopez, a man from New Jersey, reached out to investigators because he believed that Hernandez Lopez's brother-in-law was responsible for Ethan's disappearance. Statements by Hernandez's sister Nina Hernandez and Thomas Riviera led a charismatic Christianity group at St. Anthony of Padua, a Roman Catholic church in Camden, New Jersey, indicate that Hernandez may have publicly confessed in the presence of fellow parishioners in the early 1980s to have he murdered Ethan. According to Hernandez's sister, it's an open family secret that he had confessed in the church. A New York grand jury indictment Hernandez on November 14, 2012, on charges of second-degree murder and first-degree kidnapping. His lawyer has stated that Hernandez was diagnosed with schizotypal personality disorder, which includes hallucinations. The lawyer has also said that Hernandez has a low intelligence quotient of around 70 at the border of intellectual disability. Really? Ha, never mind. On December 12, 2012, Hernandez pled not guilty to 2 counts of murder and 1 count of kidnapping in a New York court. On April 2013, Harvey Fishman, Hernandez's legal aid criminal defense lawyer, filed a motion to dismiss the case, citing that Hernandez's confession is one of the nation's most notorious child disappearances was false. Prepared with questionable claims and made after almost 7 hours of police questioning, the next month, New York Supreme Court Justice Maxwell Whaley ruled the evidence was legally sufficient to support the charges and that the case could move forward. He also ordered a hearing to determine whether the defendant's statements could be used at trial. On September 2014, hearing was conducted that determined whether Hernandez's statements that were made before the police he had read the Miranda rights to him were legally admissible at trial. This would be influenced by whether he felt free to leave during the time before he was Mirandaized The hearing also sought to determine whether Hernandez understood the significance of his Miranda rights and was competent to waive them. When he did so, significant because it would decide whether any statements made after the point by Hernandez were legally admissible at trial. The actual truth or falsehood of the statements was not the focus of the hearing, rather, the question of the statement's truthfulness was to be discussed at trial, which began on January 5th, 2015. The case resulted in a mistrial on May 2015 because of a hung jury that was deadlocked 11 against 1 for conviction. A retrial began on October 19, 2016 in a New York City court with jury deliberations. In February 2017, February 14, 2017, Hernandez was found guilty of kidnapping and felony murder. Sentencing was scheduled on February 28th when Hernandez faced 25 years to life in prison. However, Hernandez's attorneys were granted a delay in order to challenge the verdict, and no new sentencing date was set. On April 18th, 2017, Hernandez was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after serving at least 25 years. The conviction was unanimously affirmed by the appellate court on March 26, 2020. In 1983, the May 25th anniversary of Ethan Pitt's disappearance was assigned a National Missing Children's Day in the United States. In 21, the tribute spread worldwide. The International Center of Missing Exploited Children coordinates the Help Bring Them Home campaign in 22 countries in conjunction with International Missing Children's Day. The extensive media attention attracted by the case of Pitt's disappearance has been credited with increasing public awareness of the problem of children abduction. As a result, fewer parents are willing to allow their children to walk to school. Photos of missing children have been more widely distributed, and the concept of stranger danger has been prompted. The idea that all adults not known to children must be regarded as potential sources of danger. Y'all, this is sad that this little boy, they still got this little boy marked as missing. They still got him status missing 45 years, 9 months, and 24 days. They still, even though he was declared dead, his status is still missing. They think he was murdered by strangulation. It was presumed. Um, Everything is presumed. Disappearance presumed. Child murder presumed. Child abduction presumed. Unclear. The motive is unclear and allegedly uh, smuculation, right? SA, basically. And then so they presume that he's dead. So as we know, Pedro Hernandez was convicted of his murder and kidnapping. But you guys, this is very sad.